Hello, my name is Sonnet and I love to talk about books and crochet and amigurumi and especially amigurumi books. And in today's video, we have another episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Amigurumi. This is a series where I will review a amigurumi book. I give you what I think about the book, all of my honest opinions, the good, what I like about the book, the bad, things that I'm not a big fan of, and I share with you all of the amigurumi that I made from that book. Today's episode, I'm really excited about because I will be talking about one of my favorite amigurumi books ever, and that is Too Cute Amigurumi by Jennifer Santos. Jennifer Santos, also known as Super Cute Design, has this book out that I've had for quite a while now. As you can see, it is well loved. Oh my gosh, spoiler alert, I love this book, but we're still going to go ahead and go through the whole thing. I'll talk about the good, talk about the bad, and then share with you the projects that I've made this time from this book. So let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about Too Cute Amigurumi. Too Cute Amigurumi is a collection of 30 adorable amigurumi patterns by the designer Jennifer Santos, also known as Super Cute Design on social media. The book is published by Page Street Publishing Co., and it was published in 2021. There's currently a paperback edition available on Amazon for $16.79, and there is also a Kindle version available for $9.99, which is nice if you do like more digital patterns. Now, these prices do reflect the time of the recording, which is March of 2025. Now, I do believe the book is available at a number of other retailers as well. I do know you can get a copy on barnesandnoble.com. So a simple Google search will pull up a number of results for you if you are interested in picking this one up. I do believe I purchased this one in a Barnes & Noble bookstore. So if you're more of a person that likes to be an in-person shopper, definitely try a bookstore. Maybe even a craft store like Michael's might even have it available there as well. Diving into the book, we have 152 pages of amigurumi goodness. And again, there are 30 amazing patterns. Now, the book does have a contents page, and the contents page is really nice because it does break down all of the different categories that you can crochet from, and it does list each pattern that is listed in those categories. So the categories are Anything is Popsicle, One in a Melon, Girls Just Wanna Have Sun, It's Food O'Clock, Sweet Treats, and Cactus Makes Perfect. There really is a great selection on all of the patterns that you can choose from. There's a fun introduction page, yarn suggestion page, even tips for amigurumi. There are also a couple of pages that have pictures showing some of the amigurumi basics like making a magic ring and things along those lines. And there is a really nice index in the back as well. So if that's an easier way for you to find something you're looking for, that is in the back. But one thing this book doesn't have that could be both a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you look at it. This one doesn't have a lot of instructions on how to crochet, how to make certain stitches. There are certain amigurumi books that walk you through every step, showing you diagrams of how to do single crochets, explaining how to do chains, explaining about working in the rounds and all of that good stuff. You won't find those detailed basic crochet instructions in this book, which again can be a good thing, saves some paper and some money. Or if you are relatively new to crochet, you will want to make sure you do have a separate resource available so you can understand how to do some of these techniques. And I always like to mention this as well. This book is in US terminology, so there we have it. Now that we've talked a little bit about the physical book, let's go ahead and learn a little bit more about the designer, which is Jennifer Santos from Super Cute Design. All of this information I get primarily from the back of this book, as well as from the Instagram page. So Jennifer Santos is an amigurumi artist from Sweden. She's known in the crochet community for her bright, colorful, and intricate amigurumi designs. And don't worry, we'll talk about the colors of these amigurumi in a little bit. Her work has been featured in Simply Crochet magazine, Inside Crochet magazine, as well as Molly Makes magazine. The Instagram page is to die for. Look at all of these amazing colors. My goodness, I love it so much. The pictures are just really well done. Oh, if you love color, definitely check out the Super Cute Design Instagram page. And aside from the book, you can actually purchase a lot of the patterns over on Etsy as well. And there's a lot of patterns on Etsy that aren't included in the book. And boy, do I love a lot of these patterns. I've worked up so many of these patterns in the past. There are some great ones. So this is a designer that you don't want to miss. Wow. I mean, look at the little boba tea buddies. Aren't those just too cute? Love them. Okay, we've talked about the book. We've talked about Jennifer Santos. Let's go ahead and get into the good. These are all the things that I absolutely love about Too Cute Amigurumi. And where to start? Oh my gosh, there's so much that I love about these amigurumi. Let's just go ahead and dive right into it. My absolute favorite thing about these patterns is the colors. The color palette is incredible. I love how bright and cheery and just happy all of the colors are that are chosen. Very rarely when making any of these patterns do I stray from the color palettes because they're just too perfect. Another thing I absolutely love about this book is how fast some of these work up. These can work up super quickly, which is really nice. If you don't have a ton of time, or say you have something coming up and you need to make a couple of amigurumi in a short amount of time, you can whip up quite a few of these in a pretty short span. Now, some of them might take a little bit longer. I imagine that this kind of succulent here might be a little bit longer just because you have to crochet all of these separate leaves. But something simple like the cloud and the rainbow here, those can be whipped up in an afternoon, if that. Just a couple of hours and you have a darling little amigurumi. Another thing I love about this book, yes, there's a lot of food, and there's a lot of food amigurumi books out there. Let's be real. Food's pretty popular when it comes to amigurumi. But these foods are different. There's just something about some of these patterns that is just different than what we see when it comes to typical foods. And I'm mainly talking about the sweet treats section here. So we have a love lollipop, which is really fun, but I do love this delicious ice cream sundae. This one is really sweet and a little bit different than what I normally see. The turtle donut is nice and unique. Let's not forget this whole section of the popsicles, where you have a bunch of different animals that are popsicles. Very creative and very different. And the last thing that I absolutely love about this book is the fact that I have never once encountered any errors in this one. I can't tell you how many of these patterns I've crocheted. I have crocheted so many patterns out of this book, and I have made them multiple times because whenever I do make them, they're super popular and they usually sell at markets and things, or I'm giving them to family members. I have made so many out of this book, I have lost count. I imagine of all of my amigurumi books that I have probably made the most out of this one, if not maybe the Crochet Cafe, that one too. But this one's a close second if it's not first. I have made so many of these patterns. And again, nothing has ever been wrong. There has been no misprints. There has been no instructions that didn't make a lot of sense. And I do feel like this book would be fairly decent for a beginner. If you have made a couple of amigurumi and you're really starting to grasp those basics, there's not a lot of technique in here that I think is going to overwhelm or confuse you. So if you are more of an advanced beginner and fairly new to amigurumi making, definitely pick this one up if it interests you. I don't think you need to be intimidated by it at all. The instructions are clear, they're concise. The amigurumi are also really well designed. All the shape of them makes sense. Everything is perfect when it comes to the patterns. Now, I do say that I haven't crocheted every single one of these patterns, so it is possible that maybe a pattern or two in here might not be as easy or might have a mistake here and there. But again, I've tried a lot of them and they have all been awesome. Now that we have talked about the good, let's go ahead and get into the bad. Now, quick disclaimer, as always, when I talk about the bad, that's more of just a dramatic title for the video. Nothing about this book is bad at all, in my opinion. What I mean by bad is things that I think some people might not be a fan of, or things that me personally as a crocheter, techniques or things that I don't technically enjoy doing, or things along those lines. Again, nothing is bad. And if these things are things you absolutely love to do, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my cup of tea. And to be quite honest, I don't have a lot. I don't have a lot to talk about with this one. So what I would say, first and foremost, there is a bit of sewing that goes into some of them. Some of these patterns are pretty simple and you don't have to sew a lot, but there are legs and arms and things that will be sewn onto many of them. There's also little types of berries that you sew on top of certain patterns. So if you don't like sewing, then maybe you won't enjoy this one as much. So this Kitty Sunday is a perfect example of things that I think some people might not enjoy. One, there is a lot of sewing that goes into this one. You will sew the ears on. You will have to sew, I imagine that's like a syrup. I don't know. The blue stuff on the ice cream has to be like a syrup or topping or something, right? You have to sew that on. It looks like there is a bit of embroidery on that syrup to replicate sprinkles. So you'll have to do that. You sew the little strawberry on top. There is some embroidery on the face here for the whiskers and the mouth and whatnot. Looks like you have to embroider the nose. So just keep that in mind. Some of these patterns do have quite a bit of sewing and details in there, but nothing is going to be terribly difficult to do. And I would say also another thing that some people might not enjoy about this book is these amigurumi do have a lot of detail to them, but they are relatively more simple. They do have more of a simple shape and kind of just simpler design. So if you like very detailed, intricate, different types of amigurumi that take you weeks and weeks to create, you probably won't like this one as much because these designs are more on the kind of simpler basic side. So while there are great details to these amis, they're not superly detailed. So if that's more in line with what you like to create, you might want to skip this one. And as I mentioned earlier, if you are brand new to amigurumi making and you picked this book up and you've never picked up a crochet hook before, it's not going to work. This does not give you the instructions on how to crochet. So if you are brand new, you will need to learn those crochet basics, single crochet, chaining, that sort of thing before you actually dive into this one. So this is not a how to crochet book. This one definitely is more just patterns. But that's it for the good and the bad. Let's go ahead and get into the amigurumi. And these are all the projects that I made specifically for this video. As I mentioned, I've made so many of these before. I've made a ton. I've lost track. But for the video, I did crochet 4. I wanted to crochet 6 of them, one for every single category. I just ran out of time to do it, and I figured rather than wait to release this video, let's just go ahead and share the 4 that I did make. Now, I did crochet 2 of them using a bulky weight yarn, so the chenille yarn, simply because I know how much everyone loves to use chenille yarn, so I thought it'd be fun to see some of these designs using like a parfait chunky. And then I did crochet 2 of them using my favorite, which is the worsted weight cotton. So let's dive into the bulky weight first. And the first one, I had to make it, is the avocado. Look how cute this one turned out. Oh my goodness gracious. It is so darling. I love the colors, as I mentioned. And just look at how happy this little avocado is. Ah. This is my spirit fruit, I think. If I were to be any fruit, I would be this avocado right here. Just super sweet and just, I love it. Absolutely love it. Just so happy. Isn't it so happy? I love it. The little arms and the legs. Those turn out super cute. Pretty simple to do this one. So you actually make this piece, so the flesh and the pit, separately from this one, and then you crochet them together. You can see that kind of seam right there. And it was fun. It was relatively easy, relatively simple enough. One thing though, I do want to kind of mention when using a chenille yarn or a bulky weight yarn, patterns like these, you might have to adapt a little bit. So for example, when it comes to the pit, when you're crocheting this pattern up, you start by making a magic ring and crocheting 5 single crochets into the magic ring, and then you expand from there. The problem with doing that and using bulky yarn is it makes this really kind of unsightly cone shape to the amigurumi versus the more rounded shape that you would get if you were using like an acrylic or a cotton or something along those lines. And that's just because of how the chenille yarn is constructed and the bulkiness of it. So if you are going to be using a chenille or a bulky weight yarn for amigurumi like this, it might be good to kind of look up different techniques that you can adapt to make, say, this pit here more of a circular kind of part of the amigurumi than a cone. You can really kind of see that cone effect taking place on the back. I tried to do the best I could with it, but it still is kind of a little bit back there. Not too bad. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, there it is. The avocado, not much more to say. I love avocados. I love happy avocados, and it's just so cute and so fun. So there it is. The avocado. The next amigurumi I made using the bulky yarn is this cheeky cactus. Oh my gosh. So this one is a little cat that has, and it's cactus. It has a unicorn horn and then the flowers. It has a fun little winking face. And then I decided to use some of my Parfait Blooms yarn for the pot because I thought that would be fun and a little bit more florally and just cute. Overall, I think this one turned out really fun. It's a nice size amigurumi, isn't it? Pretty big and worked up fairly easy. There was quite a bit of sewing. You have to sew all of the stuff on, but it was easy peasy, nothing too complicated about it. The winking face I'm not terribly happy with. I don't think my embroidery skills are top notch, so I think that could possibly just be a sonnet problem. But yeah, not much to say about this one. I just think it's really fun. I love the little flowers and the unicorn aspect of it. My daughter has been begging me for this one. Oh, she's been waiting for me to film this video so she can finally have the unicorn cactus. But there it is. There is the cheeky cactus, and yeah, overall pretty happy with that one. So while I do like using the bulky chenille yarns, and I do think they make really cute amigurumi, looking at them, they're not my favorite. Bulky chenille yarns, just not my cup of tea. I like using them, and I do like a lot of patterns using them, but it's just not my favorite. I much rather would use my worsted weight cotton that I love, and that's what I used for these next 2 patterns, and oh, these ones turned out so cute. So the first one using the cotton is this bunny popsicle. Look at how fun. I thought this one would be really cute because Easter is coming up. It's right around the corner, really, if you kind of think about it. And oh my gosh, I love it. I think this one turned out great. Also, the size of it was a really nice size. Using a worsted weight yarn, I thought it worked up pretty good. The colors are really fun. I love the little X of the mouth. I kept the colors the same as they are in the book because I think they are really great. He has the little carrot on top, which is fun, and the stick for the popsicle. It's a little floppy, so there's that. I'm sure you can add something to the popsicle stick to make it a little bit more sturdy if that's something you wanted to do. I didn't think it was that big of a problem, but Oh, I just really had fun with this one, and that is the bunny popsicle. And lastly, we have my favorite project that I made this round, and that is the little cloud. I don't know what it is about this little cloud that I love so much. Why? It's so simple, but I just love it. I think it's the combination of the white of the cloud and the blue of the legs. For whatever reason, it makes me so happy to see. His little smile is super fun. This one definitely worked up the fastest of any of the patterns. You crochet the cloud as one piece, and then you add a couple of cheeks, you add a couple of legs, ta-da! You have an adorable amigurumi. I crocheted this one up in just a couple of hours one afternoon, and I just love it. I love how this one looks. I think using the cotton yarn as well really makes this particular amigurumi just feel so clean. And I think that's why I prefer using like a cotton over like a bulky or a acrylic. I love the clean look of the stitches that the cotton provides. Oh, it's awesome. I don't want to have to get rid of this one. I probably will because I don't keep many of my amigurumi because I would have no room if I did keep all of the ones I love, because I love all of them. Let's be real. But it's going to be really sad to get rid of this one because it just makes me think of like springtime and summer, and just I love it. I love it so much. That's it for the amigurumi. Let's go ahead and dive into my final thoughts. What do I think of Too Cute Amigurumi? I don't think I need to give you my thoughts. You already know exactly what I'm going to say. So that's it for the video. See you guys later. No, I'm just joking. But you already know I love this. I love this book so much. I love the colors. I love the patterns. I think Jennifer Santos is an amazing designer. These are the perfect amigurumi for me. I love making these really happy and bright creations. And everyone that I've ever gifted one of these to or sold one of these to have just loved them as much as I do. It really is one of my favorite books. The patterns are simple enough that I feel a relatively newer amigurumi maker can grasp them and make something super fun that they can be proud of. But they are designed in a way that they're not too simple. So even if you've been crocheting for a while, you still will have fun making some of these cuties. This is the only book by Jennifer Santos, and I'm curious to know if she will ever come out with another one, because if she does, I will be first in line to pick it up. But until then, there's still all of those amazing patterns over on Etsy as well. But if you do not have this one and you love bright colors, super cute things, then you gotta pick it up. You just gotta. The name is perfect. Too Cute Amigurumi. They really are just too cute. But that's it. Those are my thoughts on Too Cute Amigurumi by Jennifer Santos. I'm curious about you. Do you have this amigurumi book, and what do you think? Do you love it as much as I do, or do you not enjoy it as much? Let me know down in the comments. I love it when we all have our own various opinions on things. Some things I might love, you might not love, and I think that's great, and I love having those conversations with you guys. In addition, if there's any books you'd like me to add to my ever-growing list of books to do for this series, drop those in the comments as well. But that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you so much. You are so wonderful. And I will see you all a little later. Bye, everybody.